I'm in the water, it's liberating. I take it like an exploration. And if I had the chance to be back in the Galapagos exploring it all again, I would go back in a heartbeat. I spent my childhood visiting Greece every other summer because my dad's from there and all his family's from there. So I spent a lot of time visiting family, and a lot of days we would just go to the beach. It was practically every day, actually. And I was just so curious about the ocean at a super young age. I would get my little sand pail, fill it with a little bit of sand and some water. I'd just go out and look for things and kind of collect them, like crabs and sea urchins. I just knew that the ocean was special and the things that lived there were unique and so interesting. And I just think it's cool to look back at how excited and how interested I was back then. I was super interested in finding a study abroad program. In general, I've been growing up hearing about the Galapagos since I was little. I think the Galapagos just sounds like a unique and crazy place. I mean, just the wildlife they have there is unreal.
I've been teaching in the Galapagos Study Abroad program since its inception. I was one of the faculty that was involved with putting the program together, and I teach a course called MSc 422, Marine Ecology of the Galapagos Islands.
Our program consisted of 15 students, including me, and so that just made for a tight-knit, close group of marine science kids that we really had a lot of time to bond together. Our class setup was super cool because every 2 weeks we had a singular class at a time. So we really got to be immersed within one class and just only focus on those topics. And the classes were also very structured to use the world as our classroom. So we were practically always outside. That was just such an amazing way to learn, especially as a scientist and as a researcher.
I'd say I really have two favorite parts of teaching in the Galapagos. It's a fantastic experience. I just love doing it. And I really love to see the reaction of the students when they get into a new environment or see some new exciting marine life. It's just so much fun to watch their reactions. And the other thing I really love about the Study Abroad program in the Galapagos is that when you're there, you're totally focused just on that one thing. You're focused just on teaching that one group of students every day, all day.
With the free time we had outside of school, me and my friends loved to go on hikes. We loved to go to the local snorkel area because this snorkel area, every time you went, you just saw something different. And we were trying to teach ourselves how to surf. So I think we heard about COVID-19 in China decently early in the semester. However, we had no ideas or thoughts about it spreading like it did. So it was a serious event, but we weren't necessarily worried about it whatsoever affecting us. Eventually, we heard news that it had hit Ecuador and was getting pretty spread in Guayaquil. That was when it started to get a little real for us. We were like, oof, this is possibly going to hit us. I mean, we're on an island, there's not a lot of travel between there. At the same time of all of this, our program coordinators were also really hoping that we'd get to finish our semester and reassuring us, don't worry, we're assessing the situation, you guys should be able to finish your semester. And then out of the blue, on March 14th, we got an emergency meeting with our program coordinators and our teachers, and they told us, we are officially closing down the Galapagos program. You guys need to get flights within the next 2 days to leave. And if you don't leave, you will not get your credits for courses. So they were taking it very seriously.
Because I had left Galapagos about 10 days before, roughly 10 days to 2 weeks before things happened, I had no role in helping with evacuate students to Galapagos. That fell primarily to our staff in Galapagos, our NGO collaborator there. A lot fell on the IOI staff in Galapagos who managed the day-to-day affairs of the operation there.
Called all the students in on Saturday night, said, you know what, you need to get flights right away. And we evacuated everyone on Monday from the island. There were a few students and volunteers who didn't end up leaving the Galapagos until Tuesday, I believe, was the latest. We were trying to communicate with the students themselves, host families, trying to get the most updated information about Ecuador's plans, the airlines. And so we were also playing travel agent at the same time, because it's not like the students could be changing their flights as they went. And many of the students, of course, had to change their flights 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times as it shut down quicker and quicker.
We couldn't find tickets that left until Tuesday or Wednesday. And because it was the only tickets available, the school said it was fine. But when Monday came around, it was announced that the island we were staying on, Isla Isabela, was going to close their borders after the end of Monday. We had no time to pack or plan or anything. We just had to shove everything that we absolutely needed in our bags and run to this airport. It was so fast and it so stressful, but it was the only opportunity we had to not get stuck in the Galapagos. So we had to make do and just keep pushing through. And then eventually we all got to the main airport of Galapagos and safely made it to the mainland. But when I was traveling to Quito, Ecuador, while I was in flight, the Ecuador government closed the borders of Ecuador. So no one could come into Ecuador. This means that no flights were coming into Ecuador because they didn't want to send empty planes in to take people out. So by the time I landed, I thought, finally, I struggled through it all. It was really close, but I made it. And then I get off this flight, and they take all of the passengers aside in the airport, and they tell us that we are not leaving that airport. So it was a huge mess. So after days of being stuck in this airport and trying to hold my sanity together, I got an email from Dean Avisar saying that they found me a ticket home, which I just immediately felt weight come off my shoulders. It was such exciting news. And I was so relieved that I finally had a real plan to go home. Boston University also had some study abroad students in Quito. So UM and BU both teamed up to get a plane for these students to come home. The final breath of relief was when I landed in Chicago, grabbed my suitcases, and met my family outside, because even though I had this for sure flight out of Ecuador, I really just was holding my breath until I finally knew it was for sure and that I could definitely finally go home. Right about now, it's pretty much a full year and a little bit extra since I've been in the Galapagos, and I really miss it. I wish I could go back there and just hug my families and see how they're doing and see how they've endured this really tough year. Looking back, I am so incredibly surprised and proud of the person I've become and the researcher I've become and how passionate I've become. being in the Galapagos, you just become so close with nature, and I've learned so much about it, and I have grown a lot of my research skills. So I'm currently a senior at the University of Miami, double majoring in marine science and biology. And in my free time, I volunteer in Dr. Chris Langdon's Ocean Acidification and Coral Reef Lab, where I am working on my senior thesis.